Well, I can safely say I wasn't expecting any scores in the 50s range for Mario and Luigi Brothership. Hello there, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Botox Games. We have the review scores for Nintendo's final major release of 2024, the long-awaited new entry in the Mario and Luigi series, and opinions on it seem to be very mixed, like way more mixed than I was expecting. We're seeing some websites give it a 9 out of 10. We're seeing some websites give it a 5 out of 10, which is just a range that I was not expecting, as I have also played the game. I posted my review over on my other channel at It's Amiibo. I'll have the review link down below and in the comments. I loved Mario and Luigi Brothership. As someone who has never been like a huge Mario RPG head, I enjoy Paper Mario, I enjoy these things pretty casually. As someone who has never been like a hardcore Mario RPG fan, I thought Brothership was fantastic and certainly one of the best Mario RPG games, if not the best one. So to see such mixed reviews is very surprising to me. I could see like a 7 out of 10 maybe, like a lot of 7s, that's fair. But to see a bunch of 5 out of 10s, I just was not expecting that whatsoever. And I don't think it really reflects the reality of the game. But that's the beauty of opinions. You can have whatever opinion you want. So we're going to read through some of these reviews here, and I'll kind of give my commentary as we do whenever there is a big new Nintendo release. Let's get into it. Alrighty, folks, welcome back to the channel. I hope your Monday morning is going fine. Like I mentioned, go check out my review of this game. I really loved it, but we have quite a few reviews to go through. We'll start at the top, then work our way down to the bottom of the barrel when it comes to the review scores. Not the quality of the reviews, and I will say that too. People get very emotionally charged over review scores. Let's take it easy, even as someone who loved the game, let's not get angry at IGN for their 5 out of 10 or Digital Trends for their 5 out of 10. Let's kind of read through and see what they said and figure out what we can make of it from there. So we'll start from the top here with, let's go, what are some ones I recognize? Nintendo Life. Let's read from Nintendo Life here with a 90. They say, Mario and Luigi Brothership takes this long-running RPG series to new heights and a high-seas adventure that's packed full of top-notch content, inventive variety, a positive and thoughtful story, and lots of signature comedy from the dynamic duo themselves. This is a big game packed full of surprises and fun, and the all-new Battle Plug system alongside lots of flashy specials, a fittingly emotive art style, and a world that's brimming with puzzles and challenges make for a must-play in our book. I completely agree. I agree with everything that is said right there. The combat in Brothership, I think, is the best of any Mario RPG. Between Mario and Luigi, between Paper Mario, between Super Mario RPG, I think Brothership has the best combat system of them all, and a lot of that is in part due to the Battle Plug system. I love the Battle Plugs you get, which add just a lot of variety to how you're like comboing moves and stuff. It just makes it very fun. Even the combat on like a base level, taking that out of it, I think inherently it is more fun than any other Mario and Luigi game, just because when you do an attack, even just your standard attacks, both bros are involved. It just makes it so much more engaging even when Mario's doing a hammer swing, Luigi gets in there too. Like, it just makes it so much more fun, and even makes, fighting regular enemies feel satisfying and feel like you're really getting that oomph, You're really getting that oomph from a bros attack in the prior games with almost every attack in this game, and I just love it for that. So yeah, I completely agree with Nintendo's Life review. I think a 9 is about what I would give it to. I don't do scores when I review games, but it's probably about a 9 out of 10, maybe even a 9.5 for me. Honestly, I think it's that strong of a game. Reading through here, the gamer says, this is the first Mario and Luigi on Switch, and it feels very much like the series' first big-budget home console entry. It's so much bigger than any of the older games, not just in terms of playtime, but in terms of ideas too. The only bad thing about Brothership is that it sets the bar so high, there's no going back to the originals now. I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, it's crazy how much of a jump in quality this is. As someone who likes Mario and Luigi, I love Superstar Saga when I played it for the first time earlier this year. I love Bowser's Inside Story and Dream Team growing up. This is a new bar of quality for this franchise. I feel like Acquire is definitely going to cook up another sequel to this in 5 years or so, and it's going to be even bigger and better on Switch too. But looking at this, and the production value and like the cutscenes and the art style and everything, and then looking at like the 3DS entries, it's just like, wow. It's crazy like how big of a leap this is. I mean, we haven't really seen that many franchises that have never had a console entry get a leap this proper onto the Switch. I'm trying to think of handheld-only franchises that have moved to the Switch. I mean, Pokemon's one, and Pokemon obviously has had a very rough transition to the Switch. Fire Emblem is another one, although we did have Fire Emblem on GameCube and Wii, so not quite the same. There's stuff like Another Code, but that's very different, although I guess you could actually argue Another Code maybe does fit it, because Another Code had a huge glow-up for the Switch remakes. But Mario and Luigi feels like the most natural progression of a handheld series that Nintendo, owns, and then seeing it followed up on a home console. It feels like a nice, massive step forward. Like, it's like there's a generation that was skipped in between, because, we went from 3DS all the way to Switch, which graphically is just a huge difference. So it is a huge step forward for the franchise. And honestly, now that we have this as a baseline, I'd be cool with them going back and remaking some of the old ones. I know they already did Superstar Saga and Bowser's Inside Story, but I wouldn't be bad if they did that again with this new art style, honestly. Vux gave it a 9, saying, Brothership is a joy to play as well as an excellent entry in the Mario and Luigi series. Even as the Switch era is sailing towards new waters, it is a real treat to see them release such amazing games. I hope it gets all the attention it deserves in spite of being released on the tail end of the Switch's lifespan. If you haven't had the opportunity to play a game from the Mario and Luigi series before, this is as good a jumping in point entry as any, and this is a must-own for long-term fans of any of the Mario RPG entries. Completely agree there. It is also, yeah, like they say there, it's a great jumping in point. If you've never played one before, it's not like these games are really connected. There's references to older games. I think there's actually references to every single Mario and Luigi game, which is really cool. You'll see those when you play the game, but this is a great jumping in point. You're not going to miss anything, really, if you don't understand those references, and I'm sure you can probably pick it up, even if you haven't played some of them. Yeah, a lot of 9s, though. I mean, a lot of 9s. My Nintendo News gave it a 9. They say here, Brothership is an exceptional adventure that's just as much about the journey as it is the destination. Whether you're new to the series or have played every Mario and Luigi game up to this point, the captivating narrative with well-written and comedic characters is sure to keep you thoroughly engaged as you travel from island to island to help reconnect the land of Concordia. From the brain-stimulating puzzles to the extensive RPG battle mechanics, there is a boatload of fun to be had around every turn. So that's something that we haven't talked about yet, is the actual story and characters of this game. I've talked about the combat. I think the combat is fantastic. I think the narrative and the characters are also top tier. The narrative, especially, like the story, I think is by far the best in any Mario RPG. That I don't think is really close. Honestly, like I think the story in this game is really good. The final villain is really cool. The characters are really strong. I love Connie. I love all the other different characters you meet, the idol group, right? There's some really cool characters in this game. I'm not sure if I would put the characters above, like, even just the very small cast of Super Mario RPG. Having that really close group between Mario, Bowser, Peach, Geno, and Mallow is just so good in that game. Mallow and Geno being the original characters there, I love them. Even the Bean characters from Superstar Saga, I adore. I really like those characters as well. But the Watanists and all the electrical characters that Brothership have are very good. I don't know if they're quite to that scale, that tier of like quality in my opinion, but I do really like them. They are very unique, and there's some great writing in there, especially when you get to the side quests that I talked about in my review. There are so many good side quests in this game that really expand the characters and your understanding of them, that feel like they could have just been part of the main quest, but for some reason they just made them side quests. I mean, this game is loaded with content. If you do everything, it's probably like a 60-70 hour game, which is crazy. That's absolutely crazy. We have an 80 from Tech Radar Gaming. They say, Brothership doesn't reinvent the wheel. It's a solid RPG with fun mechanics and lovable characters. New additions like Luigi logic and plugs make for satisfying combats, while overworld exploration benefits from the new bros moves and ample puzzles with a decent amount of variety. However, the game does suffer from what is emerging as the Nintendo Switch generational curse, frame rate drops, as well as some pacing issues in the late game. So I actually agree with the pacing issues. I would say more in the mid-game, though. When you get to the third sea, there's 5 great seas you kind of explore. The third sea, I would say, is where the pacing kind of halts a little bit, but after that, in my opinion, it's really just full sails ahead for a great rest of the game. It did go longer than I expected, no doubt about that. I talk about that. I thought the game was going to be over, and it went on for another 10 hours longer, which maybe you could view as a pacing issue. I viewed it as like, oh, I get to play more of this great game, and it just kept getting crazier and crazier, and the ending of this game is awesome. But the frame rate drops is interesting because I talk about that as well in my review. The game does have frame rate drops, however, I stopped noticing them like 5 hours in or so. Like I completely like stopped noticing them. I'm not sure if my game got updated while I was asleep or something, or while the Switch was in sleep mode. I'm not sure, but for the first, couple hours, I was noticing frame drops when I was exploring the overworld. After that, I really stopped noticing it. I did start playing a lot more in handheld mode. That might be a major factor there, because I know sometimes games run better in handheld mode, but I do think, having seen some of the reviews that pop up later on this list here, I think the performance issues in this game are being a little bit overstated. They're definitely less bad than Echoes of Wisdom. There are a lot of other Switch games that have a worse performance that people like more than this. So I think the performance being bad is a little bit of a non-issue for me, quite frankly. If you play your Switch a lot, if you are okay with performance issues, If you, for example, are okay with Echoes of Wisdom, just the most recent example, this game definitely has less performance issues than that game, and even that I didn't think was like that horrible, although it wasn't great. God is a Yee here says, Brothership is a fun time but has frustrating moments. It's not an easy recommendation like Paper Mario, but you'll have a good time nonetheless. I like how it's not an easy recommendation is in the review. That's an 8 out of 10. I feel like that's a little, an 8 out of 10 is like, you're recommending the game. That's a high score for a video game. I will say I think this is better than any Paper Mario game, except for maybe 64. I'm a huge 64 fan. I love that game. That game oozes charm. If you're deciding which Mario RPG to buy this holiday between the two that released this year, though, between Thousand Year Door and Brothership, I think Brothership is the better game. Although, next review here, Pocket Tactics, calling out, it's still no Paper Mario Thousand Year Door. Okay, let's calm down, guys. Let's calm down. Okay, this one from Cog Connected is standing out to me. They gave it a 75. This game suffers when subjected to a reviewer's brutal pacing. Maybe if I hadn't been racing towards the finish line, the endless tiny loading screens wouldn't have bothered me as much. I was also forced to discard a lot of the side content. It's not super compelling stuff, but the act of completing it can be pretty relaxing. Searching for sprite bulbs scratches that completionist itch in a big way, plus the game is beautiful and the battles are a lot of fun. I still wish the puzzles weren't so frustrating for me, but again, they benefit from more patience than I could spare. My momentum while playing felt wobbly and uneven, but this is still a well-crafted game. Perhaps your time, if you can offer more of it than me, will be well spent playing Mario & Luigi Brothership. Yeah, I mean, that's something I talk about there as well. Like, the game is very long. I've seen some people say it's bloated. I don't think it's bloated. I just think it's just a big game. It's just a really long game, which even for me was a bit of an issue because I play so many games. I did have to skip some of the side content to roll credits and see through the, you know, the end of the game so I could get my review up on time. So that's unfortunate, but that's not because the game is bad in any way. It's just because I was kind of crunching to get my review up. So like, I would have liked to do all that side content. The side content does expire. The side quests are all missable, which is kind of frustrating. I don't like when games do that. I get why they do it in the universe, you know, given the context in the game. You'll understand when you play it. But yeah, I do agree that like reviewing this game, you're gonna have a different experience than someone playing it casually. If you are just, you know, let's say you're a kid or an adult who just, you know, is gonna buy a couple games a year, Mario & Luigi Brothership is going to last you months. I mean, if you're watching this video right now and you pick up Mario & Luigi Brothership, it might be the last game you play this year because it's a long game. You are going to get your money's worth out of this game if you like it, and I think if you like Mario RPGs, you'll probably like it. And then we get to the lower reviews here that I know are already causing a lot of a stir on social media here. So Digital Trends gave it a 5, saying, Brothership's problems will look familiar to anyone who found themselves disappointed by games like Mario & Luigi Paper Jam or Paper Mario Sticker Star. Absolutely not. I can't even keep a straight face. There's no way. I mean, listen, opinions are opinions, but this game definitely is more aligned in quality and creativity and just fun factor with something like Thousand Year Door or you know, Bowser's Inside Story than Sticker Star. And I like Sticker Star. I'm a Sticker Star defender. I think that game gets way too much hate. It's definitely the worst Paper Mario game, but like, calm down. This game is not anywhere in the same ballpark as Sticker Star. Sorry, I literally couldn't keep a straight face. Nintendo has seemingly convinced itself that every Mario RPG needs to have bespoke gimmicks. It's not enough to give players a well-written story and iterate on a solid combat foundation. There always has to be a twist or 2 or 3. Those layers drag Brothership down the longer the adventure goes on, making even its intriguing climax feel exhausting by the end. So, okay, they're talking a little about like the game length. That's fair, I guess. What are they talking about with the twists? There's not really much, like, it's a Mario RPG. It's not the most complex thing in the world. You have battle plugs. You have the Luigi logic mechanic, which is not that, like, in your face, right? It only happens during boss fights and then while you're exploring the overworld. I need to read this full review. What are they talking about? Oh. The review isn't even... the review's not up? Okay. Well, I was hoping to get more context there, but yeah, no, definitely... This is definitely not true. If you like any other Mario & Luigi game, any of the good ones, right, you're going to like Brothership. If you like Thousand Year Door, you are going to like Brothership. There will always be people that, you know, are going to nitpick and not like it. Sure, I get it. That's fine. But I'm telling you, if you like Mario RPGs, Brothership is of the highest quality of Mario RPGs. And then finally, we have the 5 out of 10 from IGN here. They say, Mario & Luigi is an incredibly disappointing return for an RPG series I've always loved. Apart from the combat, it fundamentally misunderstands its own past success and completely fumbles Luigi's role in puzzle solving and exploration by making him more of a pain than a partner. The story is simplistic and unoriginal, its attempts at humor fall flat, and the overly chatty writing holds your hand to a ridiculous degree. It's not a total disaster, as the excellent flashy turn-based battles are some of the best the series has ever had, but even those somehow managed to wear thin as the repetitive final act crawls across the finish line of this roughly 34-hour campaign, which suffers from surprisingly bad performance issues nearly the entire time. The Switch has been home to many triumphant revivals for Nintendo, but the Mario & Luigi series has sadly missed the boat. There's a lot to unpack in that. So apart from the combat, it fundamentally misunderstands its own past success. I'll start there. I was actually talking to my friend Daniel, or at Dampar on Twitter, because he also was playing the game early, and we're kind of talking about it as we played it for the past couple of weeks. That was like one of the first things we noticed, is that Brothership actually feels like a love letter to Mario & Luigi. It feels like Alpha Dream never left. It feels like just the natural next entry in the series. Like the series was never gone. It feels like Dream Team happened, and then we got Brothership. Like a couple years later. That's literally what it feels like. It feels like just the absolute next progression of the series in a way that doesn't disrespect the past of the franchise, while also evolving it in new and exciting ways that feel within line of what you would expect from a new Mario & Luigi game. It just feels like another entry in the series that wasn't to be expected, right? Like, we thought when Alpha Dream went bankrupt, we would never get another Mario & Luigi game. And even if we did, we were worried it wouldn't be, you know, quite to the same level of creativity and ambition of the other games in the series. But that's exactly what Brothership is to me. It really is that return to form that I was hoping for after the series went absent for 8 years. So definitely disagree with it, misunderstanding its own past success. I think Brothership is a completely total natural evolution of the series that pays respect to its history. Completely fumbles Luigi's role in puzzle solving and exploration by making him more of a pain than a partner. So he's referring to when you're exploring the overworld and doing puzzles, there's the Luigi logic thing where you press the L button and Luigi can like be sent to like stand on a platform to make it rise up or something. It's not really a pain or anything. It's not like an escort mission. I think it works completely fine. I actually liked it a lot. And just it kind of made the puzzle solving in the overworld a little bit more engaging than in past games. I never had an issue with like the AI or anything, or like getting him to go to a certain point. It actually worked pretty well. I was actually surprised. I was thinking like, wow, Luigi actually knows where to go when I press the L button. Like the game is pretty smart with getting him to go where you need him to go. The game suffers from surprisingly bad performance issues nearly the entire time. That's just not true. Obviously everything is subjective, right? Of course. But no. Unless you were extremely, extremely picky about performance, this game runs fine. It doesn't run like it's on a PS5, obviously. It's not 120 FPS. I don't even think it's 60 FPS. But for the most part, the frame rate is a consistent 30, I believe. There are frame drops, but that's kind of the status quo for most Nintendo games now. That's not a defense of it, they should still be running better. These games are made for the Switch. There should be no frame drops at all, but to say it has surprisingly bad performance issues nearly the entire time, at least in my experience playing in docked, playing in handheld, that's just not true. So yeah, definitely a wide range of opinions, mostly skewing on the positive side. Refreshing the Metacritic's page here, it looks like it has about an 80 right now. When I started recording, it was at a 79, so it's actually gone up 1 point as more reviews have come in based on 54 reviews. Yeah, it looks like the enemy gave it 100, a 10 out of 10, a perfect 10 from the enemy, which is crazy. But yeah, a very wide range of reviews. I was not expecting that. Talking with friends and stuff about this game behind the scenes, I thought this game was going to review better, and I think it deserves better. I think this game is fantastic. I think it's the best game Nintendo released this year. I think it's the best Mario & Luigi game. I think if you like what you see in the trailers, or if you like Mario & Luigi, you are going to buy this game, and you are going to very, very much enjoy it. Maybe you won't enjoy it quite to the extent I did, where I think it's the best Mario RPG or close to it, but at the very least, you will almost certainly have a very, very good time with it. So yeah, that is going to do it for this morning's video. I'd love to hear what you all think of these Mario and Luigi Brothership reviews down in the comments below. Like I mentioned, I posted my full review of the game over on its Amiibo. I'll have that link down below. Definitely check out that for some more in-depth thoughts on my experience playing the game. But as we do with these big Nintendo releases, I always like to kind of review the reviews, so to speak. So let me know your thoughts. Subscribe here for more Nintendo news, content coverage, all that fun stuff. Follow me on Twitter at BoTalksGames. And until next time, folks, peace.